Yeah, welcome to the Three Gun Show, episode 320. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and I am fired up. We got a great interview for you here today. This is friend and supporter of the show, Jeremy Gresham, and he's back on the show to discuss the IWI Gas Gun Challenge. I was curious about this series after seeing a bunch of posts from their new social media accounts, so I reached out to Jeremy to come on the show and explain the divisions and the format to us. After talking with Jeremy, I'm excited about this format. And if you're anything like me, you will be too. And you must be a little bit like me because you're listening to the show. Before we get into that, before we get into the IWI Gas Gun Challenge with Jeremy Gresham, couple news things I wanted to update you on here. First, I did 2 polls on the Three Gun Show Instagram a couple months back, and I totally forgot to share the results. And the first one I asked, for 3 gun only, do you prefer a single stage or a 2-stage trigger? So think about that one. What do you prefer? Well, 108 of you voted single stage, and 35 of you voted 2-stage. So overwhelmingly, apparently people for 3 gun prefer a single stage trigger. And then I asked what you thought I prefer. And 50 of you voted 2-stage, while 69 of you voted single stage. Nice. The answer is that I, Dave Hartman, prefer single stage trigger in 3 gun. So most of you were correct on that one. This is kind of a debate that I've been having with a friend of mine, and I was pretty sure that most people prefer to single stage, which I don't care either way. It's not like I'm going to try to convince anyone because it's totally a personal preference thing, but it's just kind of an interesting point of data. The second bit of news that we have going here, this is exciting. Okay, the biennial Vortex Optics Big Ben Blast and Dash is happening again at the Ben Lamont Gun Club in Rama, Colorado on July 9th. There's a lot of B's in that sentence. So July 9th, 2022 coming up here. For those of you that have shot this match before, you know how much fun this is. It's such a ball. For those that haven't, this is a 5K obstacle race with a multi-gun match thrown into it. Think of like Spartan race meets 2-gun kind of thing. So you start at one point, you cover 3.1 miles total, and along the way, you navigate 16 obstacles and 8 stages. All the whole time, you're carrying all your guns and ammo that you need, water, snacks, whatever. You don't need snacks, come on. But there are water stations out there too. So realistically, whatever you want to bring with you, you can bring with you. I like to go slick, weapons and ammo only. Just a little hint there. But realistically, for a lot of people that are worried about the 5K portion of it, it's not like you're running a 5K and then shooting a match. It's like you're running it at the same time. So the longest stretch you have to run or walk at any one time is about a quarter mile. And in most cases, it'll be much shorter. There's like one stretch that you have to get to a different range, and that takes a little bit longer. But we'll break it up with some obstacles in there. Speaking of obstacles, I have a list of obstacles that I got. So my buddy Mike Griswold that I talk about on the show a lot is the match director, and he's a beast of a man, and he's putting together a ton of great obstacles. So there's a new one this year, and that's an 8-foot wall, an 8-foot wood wall to climb over, and that is goes with the 6-foot wall and the 3-4-foot walls that are already there. There's going to be monkey bars. It's going to be a farmer carry. There's going to be a sled drag, a wheelbarrow, which I would imagine is a weighted wheelbarrow, Atlas stones, beer keg carry, tire flip, sandbags of an Olympic size, normal sandbags, that's like an overhead toss, so sandbag toss, a tunnel crawl, and then, of course, there's going to be water buckets as well, and probably anything else that Mike can think of between then and now, because he loves to build things. So if you're interested in that type of match, there are multiple divisions. They're based on age. All right, so young people run against young people, old people can run against old people, et cetera, et cetera. There is a ladies division, and there's 2-gun open and PCC open. So we kind of kept it simple this time around. We kept it simple last time, and it worked out. So we're going to go ahead and continue that format. If you're interested in shooting the match, There's a link at 3gunshow.com/320, along with several other links from my talk here with Jeremy. And that's it. That wraps it up for the news this week. Thanks for listening to the show. Always appreciate you. Please enjoy this interview with Jeremy Gresham. Jeremy, welcome back to the show.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing wonderful, man. It's been a long time since you've been on the show, and it's great to catch up with you here.
Likewise, man. Yeah, I'm a busy person, so I appreciate you working with my schedule and get me back on here, and I'm sure we'll have an exciting time talking this time as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I actually caught you in Pennsylvania for once, and you were on the grand spring tour of the gun show circuit. So you're back home now. What was the month of travel like? Where'd you go? What'd you see?
So yeah, the first quarter really is a grind for the industry. So it kicks off with a couple distributor wholesaler shows up in the north in Minnesota area. And then from there we go down into North Florida for another distributor show. And that takes us right up into SHOT Show in Las Vegas. From SHOT Show, we move to another show in Reno, Nevada. From there, we go to Dallas, Fort Worth, then to Savannah, Georgia, back to Dallas, Phoenix, and then into Nashville, and then that brings me to where I'm at back home.
That's a lot of moving around, covering the nation there.
Yeah, and you only get about 2 weeks, so I'll be home for 2 weeks, and then I've got about a solid 4 weeks of travel of more shows. And they're not like gun shows open to the public. These are dealer industry shows that are really, getting, the dealers are seeing products. You're having conversations with those guys to get product to them in a timely manner so that consumers can pick it up and go have fun.
Well, that sounds like a great time. And then this last weekend here, you were at a match.
Yeah, so I just got back from the match 1 of the Vortex Sniper Challenge down in Coleman Creek, North Carolina. Phenomenal facility. It's a 2-man event, obviously a sniper team match with 3 divisions. I don't know those divisions off the top of my head, but I know that the vast majority of people rode on a trailer, and those were mechanized guys. This whole walking is for the birds, man. But let's get on a trailer and ride around. But I was there for the weekend. I got there Thursday, spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday, left at 3:00 Sunday afternoon, and got home at midnight.
Nice. Well, the funny thing about the mechanized division, I'm hearing that quite a bit because yesterday we announced that registration is open for the running gun that we do in Colorado. It's like a biennial thing. So we did it in 2018, 2020, 2022. It's called the Big Bend Blast and Dash. Jeremy, you should come shoot it, man. I know you love running.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get right on it.
Yeah, but it's I'm pretty excited for it because we just announced it, so it gives me a reason to train now. But 5K running gun, and there's several divisions, but 16 obstacles and 8 stages over a 5K course.
Sounds like I guess was the intent there kind of like a Tough Mudder mixed with some carbine and pistol?
Yeah, we like to call it Spartan race with a 3-gun stage or 3-gun match thrown in there. And I had to change that to multi-gun. The first year we did it with shotgun, and it presented some logistical problems. But we've changed it just to a 2-gun now, and there is a PCC division, so it's a carbine and a pistol. But yeah, the idea is that kind of thing. But there's no mud. I was like, I don't really want to get junk in my nice guns and everything. So we kind of, unless the skies open up, there's not going to be any mud. We keep it kind of dry. But you do have to do like tunnel crawls and things like that with all your gear, climb walls, and flip over tires and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. As I heard a person in North Carolina, that we were talking about the weather moving in, he kind of shook his head and goes, "I'm a fair weather Green Beret. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm going to the house." So I just started laughing when he said it, because he's not wrong, man. Like, when you're doing this for a hobby, something about getting completely soaking wet. And I guess for me, like I don't mind being wet. I don't like it when it goes back and forth. Like I get soaked and then it's sunny.
Yeah.
And right about the time I start getting dry, I get wet again. Like if I'm gonna get once you're wet, you might as well just stay wet and move on. But being cold and wetter, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm not all about that. We're holding the match in July though, so it's July 9th. So hopefully it'll be sunny and we won't catch any of the afternoon rain showers and stuff. But it's far enough east in eastern Colorado that it's pretty much just going to be hot and dry, I think. But yeah, you're right about the weather. Like, you know me, man. I don't like shooting matches in rain and stuff. If I can avoid it, I'm all about that. And back when I was doing Spartan races all the time, they would purposely put you in like a river, a creek, or a pond or something like that in the first mile. So then the next 8 miles was just a slog through your soggy shoes. It wasn't any fun.
Yeah, the guy that I was talking to at that Vortex match, he's an active Green Beret, and he's like, "Nah, I'm out, dude." And he ended up shooting it. Obviously, he's just kind of joking, but it was a good joke because it kind of, as it starts raining, as it starts getting cold, people's minds that are not of that mindset start going places. So a little laughter and camaraderie kind of eases the tensions and makes everybody forget about how miserable they really are as they're getting cold and wet.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's so we shot the Hurricane Nationals a couple years ago. You remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember when people's cars were flooded.
Yeah, I had Jay Carrillo on my squad, and him and Jason Hintz were like super happy the entire time, which made like kind of offset my grumpiness to zero. And so having people like that on your squad when the weather turns bad is a really good thing to do. Yep,
agreed.
So, Jeremy, we're here to talk about a different match. So, something interesting that you're doing here that I think is really exciting. So, for people that have listened to the show, I shot an NRL Hunter match several months ago, and then a couple of years ago, I shot one of the Vortex team matches with my 6.5 Creedmoor. And every time I show up to one of those things, everybody's got bolt guns. And so when I heard that you're running a gas gun match, that's something that's designed specifically for the AR platform, I was super intrigued and had to hear about it. So we're talking about the IWI Gas Gun Challenge 2022, and this is a series of matches that you're holding there in Pennsylvania. So what is the IWI Gas Gun Challenge?
Yeah, so there's a group of guys here in this central Pennsylvania area that have had this idea of a gas gun challenge, and they shoot precision rifle stuff, NRL stuff, and wanted to find a way to get the everyday shooter. Everybody, for the most part, has a carbine for these days, right? Mm-hmm. And wanted to get these guys on the range shooting in unconventional positions, mainly get them off their belly. Shoot at distance, and have scoreable but not as easy targets as some would have. So I shot one last year and saw, I was like, wow, man, this is a super positive thing. It could be so much more with a little bit of polishing. So got in touch with those guys. There's 3 guys that were doing it. Obviously, you have volunteers as well. It's being held at New Holland Rifle and Rod Club, I believe it's called, here in New Holland, Pennsylvania. Targets range from 100 yards to 700 yards. And it's all a lot of positional-based distance shooting. You will have to either dial some turrets, roll to an offset, cattle grates, rooftop simulators, you name it, we're going to throw it at you. Last year we had the one that that kind of messed with a lot of people is we put some movers out there, so people are learning how to shoot movers. Still some floating bridges, but unlike in 3-gun when we have floating bridges, there's no chutes surrounded by your actual target that you have to hit. And if you hit the no shoot at any given time, you zero the stage.
Oh,
so there's, just like in the precision rifle series, there is one or 2 stages that are time based. Everything else is a par time, and we encompass pistol. So You will have to use a pistol, abandoned pistol, unsling rifle if it's on your back, or run to the position, pick up rifle, load it, make it hot, and go to work. So the time is there for the tiebreaker, but the vast majority of them have a 90-second par time or 180-second par time, and you got to get in position and get your hits. Unlike in 3-gun where you can use accuracy by volume, these are predetermined round count stages, and that's all you can have in the mag. So sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 15, but no more is it really anything over 15. Sometimes it's a hit to move, which means you may have a set of targets at 300 and a set of targets at 500. You cannot engage the set of targets at 500 until you've engaged the targets at 300. Or it could be a hit or a miss, meaning you shoot 3 rounds at 3 targets at 300, hit or miss, you're going to 500. So it's really about working with the time, getting into position and getting set up and getting solid trigger prep, sight picture, understanding the distance, and pulling the trigger. So that's the intent.
Huh. Okay. So sounds interesting. Is this like a big caliber only? Do you guys have like a floor? Is that the reason I ask? Is that NRL Hunter? It was 6.5 Creedmoor was like the base power factor, and then you could have other calibers aside from that, but they had to fall into that power factor calculation. So what sort of divisions do you guys have?
Yeah, so basically what we do here is we have what's called open / or sniper division. And this is really open to any rifle that is not to the excess of 30 caliber, or the velocity is over 3,200 feet per second. And really that's just to keep the steel, right? Anything over that's probably going to puncture the steel and damage it for long-term use.
So hang on. Based on what you just said, you can use a small platform like an AR-15 or the big platform, the AR-10 in that, right?
In sniper, there's no really restrictions to that. But yes, I mean, ultimately this is a gas gun match. Bolt gun guys can shoot it. However, they are not scored in the series. They're just there to get practice, I guess. But in sniper class, yes, you could shoot AR-15 like a 6 ARC, 6.5 Grendel, 224 Valkyrie. On the AR-10, you could shoot 6.5 Creed, 6 Creed, 6 GT, whatever you wanted to in there, right?
So that part is cool because the small platform, the AR-15, most popular rifle in America, right? There's millions and millions of them out there, and we use them, in 3-gun and 2-gun and tactical games, things like that. So it's that I like that part of it is that you can take something you already have and go out and shoot the match with probably an ammunition change.
Yep, pretty much. So then we have what's called tactical light and tactical heavy. And basically that's the restrictions are arguably the same, except in tactical light, it's an AR-15 based 5.56 223 only. Okay. You have a whatever scope you want to run. You can run bipods, you can run bags. But like I said, in the tactical light, you are running 223 or 5.56 NATO only. In tactical heavy, it's the same as tactical light, except it's 308 / 7.62 by 51 NATO only. So service rifle, NATO approved calibers in those 2 divisions.
So when you say service rifle, so obviously the AR-10 type platform, but what else comes to mind on that?
So you could shoot a 30 carbine if you wanted to, Mini 14,
FAL,
any semi-automatic rifle. So again, going back to the gas gun piece, that is 308 or 7.62 by 51 NATO in 308. You could shoot a SCAR if you wanted to, right? And then if you're shooting 5.56, you could still shoot a SCAR, but 5.56 / 223. Anytime you get out of those calibers, it's bumping you into open division. Okay. There is no limit to the scope. It is basically you can run what you have. Most people run high power variable optics, 3 to 18, 4.5 to 27s, 5 to 25, 6 to 36s, 7 to 35s. That's what most people are running, somewhere in there.
Interesting. Okay, so I kind of jumped the gun there. So like your typical 3-gun carbine would lie in tactical light.
So technically, to caveat that, right? Recce division is the last division, and that, if you think about it, was really built to help not only the cloners of the world, but the 3-gunners of the world, because there's not a lot of places in this part of the country where we can shoot distance. So Recce division is 5.56, 223 only. It doesn't matter your minimum power magnification, it's your maximum magnification, and that's 10. So you can shoot a 1 to 6, 1 to 8, 1 to 10, 2 to 10, whatever your scope is, it cannot go over 10. No bipods, and you get one bag that's not attached to the weapon system.
Interesting.
If you think about it, that's basically a TAC Ops scope or TAC Ops rifle, or an open rifle without the bipod. So
you can you can have multiple optics in that.
You could on Recce, you could have an offset for sure.
Oh, okay, cool. Interesting.
And within Recce, you're limited to an 18-inch barrel. So it's basically your 3-gun rifles / Recce rifles. So
the term Recce is like really popular with the meme groups on Instagram right now. So of course you got to capitalize on that one. But that's pretty badass. That's like every rifle I have right there, except for my Creedmoor fits into that division. That's pretty cool.
So if you shoot a Creedmoor, you'd be an open / sniper division.
Okay.
If you shot a 308, you'd be in TAC heavy. If you shot a TAC light rifle, it would be 5.56. I shoot TAC light, so I'm shooting an 18-inch M4 with a 4.5 to 27 Vortex. Suppressor, I've got ARCA on the bottom, area 419 bipods. It is a DMR type system. But I have shot this match with my 3-gun rifle, which is a 16-inch gas gun with a Vortex 1 to 10. So it gives the 3-gunners an opportunity to come out and get some distance. They have to understand that this is an accuracy by volume. You only get 10 to 15 rounds, but it's really focused on how to get into position and learn trigger prep and distance.
Yeah, it's funny you talk about accuracy by volume. Years ago when we shot the Vortex Extreme in Douglas, my buddy Mike and I shot that as a team, and we got to, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th stage or something like that, and we just laid down suppressive fire basically. And when we were done, the RO was like, "I don't think anyone shot it that fast yet." Like we didn't hit much, but we sure shot it fast. We had another 2 minutes left when we were done.
Yeah, and then for here, right, we have no restrictions on the pistol, and you will not be drawing from the holster.
Oh, okay.
So you can run carry optics rig, you can run a 2011, you can run a 2011 with a dot. If we do use a pistol, the rifle is staged, pistol is loaded and hot, and you're almost starting like you would like a steel challenge match where the muzzle's touching a dot on the table, and you do some work, unload, safe and abandon it, and go get your rifle. So
this is really cool. So I'm like just kind of staring at the divisions that you outline and trying to figure out like where would I lie in there. But it's
so, people are struggling with that every day because in this area there's a lot of 3-gunners, but they also have other calibers, right?
Yeah.
And since it's a series, right? You want to shoot the series because there's some pretty big prizes from the sponsors that we've went out and got, right? I mean, historically it's only been one sponsor, and then when I kind of took it over and with these guys, I went out and simply just talked to the buddies of mine across the industry. I'm in Pennsylvania, so a handful of companies are here in PA, and that's a lot of what the everyday shooter knows. You and I and the people that probably listen to the show are checked into the industry and a lot of other products, but the average person isn't checked in as much, and they don't know anything outside of their general area and what their shops carry, right? So my intent with getting some of my, these sponsors that I got, which are really my buddies, was to showcase other product in the general area to help further the understanding of the shooter, that there's more out there for you to help become a better shooter.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
But I mean, we've got guys, three gunners, we've got guys that are looking like, hey man, I got a 6 arc. Yep, you'd be in open. Okay, what about my 300 blackout? If you want to send, 150s out there, technically you would be in open still, But, I saw a guy last year shoot 7.62 by 39, a maximum defense.
Huh.
Like a PDW. Punching out 700 yards with it.
No kidding. How'd that go?
He took him a couple. He didn't do as well at distance, but he did okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to figure out now is, like, obviously building new rifles or buying new guns is a lot of fun. So the 6 arc being the new, like, long range darling, you kind of think like, oh, maybe I'd want to have one of those, and then you go into open, but then you're shooting against like guys with Creedmoors as well, so maybe that's not such a great idea. Especially, I don't know what the wind's like where you're at, but here in Wyoming, that wouldn't be such a great idea. Well,
the other side of that though is they're fighting recoil. You're not.
That's a good point.
So, everybody, and more so if you're loading it. A 6 Creedmoor and a 6 arc. The speeds aren't going to be too terribly off each other, but the BC is going to be identical because it's the same bullet. So, but that being said, like I said, it's 700 yards, so you're not really stretching too far out there. Yes, they have they have a higher speed with a 6 Creedmoor, but they're eating recoil, so you're not as much with a 6 arc.
Yeah.
Or 6.5 Grendel or anything in that nature.
Yeah, the Grendel will be interesting too, because there seems to be some really interesting rounds there.
Yep.
For the platform. All right.
It really opens it up to whatever you like. How much do you want to play? And I've told the 3 gunners, I said, hey guys, so with this series, it's 7 total matches. It's the 4th Saturday of every month, starting April, which is our Pro-Am, sold out. Appreciate everybody coming. Through the last till October, which is our last match, 7th match. To qualify for that you've qualified for the series, it is simply this: you have to shoot 3 and you have to RO 1, so that if you shoot all 7, you technically have 2 matches you can go play in if you wanted to, any caliber you wanted, as long as it fit the division. The reason why we did the RO 1 there is obviously to the integrity part, but also we have to give back to the sport as a taker of the sport. And this isn't like scoring paper at 10 feet. This is you're having to call impacts at 600-700 yards, and it's not the easiest thing. So we want
that's a
people
strain.
to RO and give back to the sport. So that was part of the deal. So yeah, you shoot 3, you RO 1. If you shoot match 2, 3, 4, RO 5, you have match 1, 6, and 7 to do whatever you want, essentially.
Interesting. All right. So if you want to look at this as like getting practice for your 3-gun game, obviously you're going to go into the recce division. That would make the most sense. Now, no bipods though. So and what size targets are we talking about? I'm just kind of wondering, like, are these achievable for us Luddite 3-gunners that like to throw 5 or 6 rounds to hit a target?
2 to 2.5 MOA.
Okay. Got it.
Not very big, but not very small.
So the 700-yard targets were basically like talking like a 14-inch target?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah. Chest plate, 1,400 yards, IPSC chest plate, 700 yards.
We say IPSC chest plate. Are you talking like full-size IPSC target, or are you talking like the BC zone target?
No, full-size IPSC.
Full-size? Okay. I gotcha. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever shot 700 yards in a 3-gun match, but I know I've shot just a little over 6. I'm going to need some practice, Jeremy.
Yep. I mean, come on, bud. We'll make it happen. I mean, and the reality, too, is like you said, I mean, you're shooting off of something or on something. You're not offhanding this, and you're not jumping down in the prone and shooting off your mag. You're on a cattle grate. You're on a rooftop simulator. You're on a PRS barricade. Sometimes you may be laying on the prone, but again, you have a bag. Any bag, and a lot of guys just bring a backpack because then it can be molded to any way they want it. For recce, they just have one bag and they run off of that. You can roll it up to create a bipod up front, or you can lay it over something and give it some more stability. Most people use a backpack in that division. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting to see what guys do to improvise on the clock.
Yeah, Amax and I went and shot a sniper match that was like a law enforcement and military sniper match years ago, and that was super interesting to see what those guys did on the clock and how they moved and stuff like that, because it was completely different than like competition shooters, and just observing people that are in different disciplines was super interesting. And that was kind of the bummer about the NRL Hunter. Is until the last stage, you couldn't really watch any of your squad shoot because it's supposed to be blind. So that was kind of a bummer there. But then, once you do get to watch and then you get to talk to the squad and stuff, you're like, oh, that's what I should have been doing these last 3 days here, or 2 days.
Yep. So this is not blind. We very much encourage showing the targets, presenting the targets. There is an RO watching you with a RO calling hits. That being said, if you want a coach, it cannot be the RO. So meaning, if you're shooting, Dave Hartman is shooting, and the two ROs are doing their job, I can stand behind you off the firing line with my spotting scope and give you corrective action calls.
Oh, really?
Our intent is for you to hit targets
and
learn what you're doing. At the end of the day, if you miss your first round, you just cost yourself a hit. So there are going to be other people who are better, and they're going to get their hit. But I don't want you to send match-grade ammo downrange and not learn anything in the process. So as long as it's not the RO watching you, because all their job is to do is make sure you're being safe.
Right.
Then there's the RO calling the impacts. All he's calling is hit or impact, one of the two. If I am neither one of those, I can stand directly behind you off the firing line and give you corrective action calls. We got a full value win. You're holding left edge and you're still sending it to the right side of the plate. I can give you a corrective action.
Stop sucking, Dave.
Coaching is... Yeah. Go further. You need a bigger boat. Go further.
Well, that's pretty cool. So is that for everybody, or does that depend on division?
Everybody.
Okay. I like that. So what's the climate like at these matches? Like, I guess if you show up by yourself and you don't have like a buddy that's willing to go with you or something, would you be able to find someone on your squad that would help you out, call win for you and stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, like any other action shooting sport, everybody is very much here to help everybody and grow the community and grow the divisions and camaraderie between everybody. So we encourage people to come out to a point that I have built 5 loaner guns. You only get an opportunity to use those one time, but it's our Zion, Timothy Triggers, who are sponsoring the match. Appreciate them. Vortex sent 5 to 25 PSTs. Appreciate them sponsoring as well.
That's good scope.
Keystone Munitions, which is a Pennsylvania-based company here in I'm not exactly what city, Pennsylvania, but Jeremy Riggs, big supporter of the action shooting sports. He has provided 77 grain ammunition for that. All of this is at no extra charge to the shooter. You just get one opportunity to use it. Then you got to invest in your own gear. but you will be handed, if you don't have the gear, I'm putting you in tack light. You're going to be with one of my guys or somebody we know. Obviously, one of my team has to be there because of the FFL. You're going to be handed a data card. That rifle is zeroed at 100 yards with that ammunition. It's a mill-based system, and we are going to teach you everything we can in that timeline to help you have a pleasant day. Magpul bipods, they're sponsoring the match as well. Coltac bags, they're sponsoring the series as well. You'll be outfitted with some of the most expensive and best gear out there for an entry-level shooter and even a regular shooter to have a good time. You get it one time. All you're doing is paying a match fee. We're not charging any extra. This is a service simply provided to get people in the sport. You don't think you have the right gear for it. You don't know if you want to do it. You don't know if you want to invest in it. Great. Come out and bang with us one time. Use our gear. Have a great time. And hopefully you'll go support the sponsors that are sponsoring the series because they're putting up the product for you to do that.
How cool is that? That's awesome. We talk about that in 3-Gun, like how if you go to a match, someone's going to lend you gear or something like that. But to actually have the program and have it laid out and publicized is a whole nother step in that direction. I love that.
For sure.
And free ammo.
And I mean,
come on,
man.
like,
yeah, it's 100 rounds. And I'll take that a step further, give Jeremy a little bit more credit. Jeremy Riggs, Keystone Munitions. He has ammunition at his disposal to hand to a shooter who's on the struggle bus because nobody wants to not have a good time. So Jeremy has come online to say, hey, there's a good possibility that if somebody's on the struggle bus, it's their first time or second time, whatever, that Keystone Munitions is going to support the ammunition bill for their next time match. Here's 150 rounds. Go get your rifle zeroed with it and come shoot. Some people do send 55 grain XM193 downrange, and I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying that it's going to be less than desirable with it. So, it's kind of one of those deals. The Pro-Am's coming up, and taking a page out of Brian Litz and Applied Ballistics playbook. Magneto Speed and Kestrel are one of our 2 sponsors, and for the Pro-Am, before we even go hot, every amateur who doesn't have muzzle velocity on their rifle, we will have 5 Magneto Speeds set up to capture muzzle velocity and build data cards for them in Streetlock or Shooter app or Kestrels. And just write it down. Hey guys, we can't do everything for you, but we think it's important, and we know the importance of muzzle velocity, true muzzle velocity. And then obviously you can go out there and true it, but the muzzle velocity given on the back of that box isn't always representation of what you're seeing out of your rifle.
Oh, so for sure.
The first couple at the Pro-Am coming up in April, that's part of it. Part of it is to help new shooters, amateurs, to build a data card, understand what is coming out of your muzzle, and if you change locks and all that, obviously it'll be within reason. But you need to understand what's going on at downrange.
So your first match is a Pro-Am. So is that designed to like teach new people the ropes and how to operate during the season?
Yeah, pretty much. So it's a Pro-Am. Basically, you sign up as an amateur pro. There was a defined specification for whether you're considered a pro. Some of the guys that we know in the 3-Gun world have signed up as amateurs, and I've called them out, and they will such be moved to pros. I'm not playing that game. But from there, we will randomize it, take all the amateurs, all the pros, and randomize it. And basically, there's 10 people on a squad. The first 5 people shooting the stage will be the pros. The 6th person shooting will be the amateur of the first person who shot. This way, it's still an independent match. I go shoot my match. I'm the first shooter. Boom. I get my stuff out of the way. My first stage, bam, I'm ready to rock. I reset my gear, reset my turrets, reload the mag, and I go grab my amateur, and we start talking through, hey, this is what I did. This is how I shot it. This is what I did. This is what I held. Maybe I held a full value wind. It didn't do it. I had to move over here and help them through it. And then so the 6th person will be my amateur. The seventh person will be the second pro who shot their amateur. And then basically that's how it'll work its way down until we get to the sixth stage. And then I will shoot again first, because we want to leave the amateurs on the back end so that we have opportunities to have conversations with them and help them through their match.
That's a fantastic idea. I love that. That's really cool. So is it so the Pro-Am, you're saying there's 10 people on a squad then, five pros, 5 am?
Yes.
Now throughout the rest of the season, is it typically like a 10-person squad?
Roughly 8 to 10.
8 to 10. Yeah. Okay, so how many squads, or I guess like how big is the match? Like how many people, what's your capacity?
80 to 100.
Oh wow. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, so I mean you got to think about it, right? There's 0 reset.
Yeah, you forget about that.
There's no reset. We're all shooting steel. It's super quick because most part times are either 90 or 180 seconds, and I mean we don't all you're doing is unload and show clear. Next shooter.
Huh. Okay.
Any questions?
So that's much faster than the matches that or the longest range matches that I've shot, where it's like a 3 or a 4 minute par time.
Yeah. No. We've got the par times down. I mean, it's 10 rounds, 10 to 50. So what we do here to help the recce guys is most of the time in open or DMR light or DMR heavy, we have 10 rounds total. Hit or miss, 10 rounds. Hit to move, 10 rounds. Recce gets 15 because they are usually underpowered at the distance. So we give them more power or more rounds to get their impacts. You only get 5 extra, but we still give you a little extra. But yeah, it's super quick. I don't know that I've seen anything over 180 seconds. And the targets they're in the same general direction. Like, you know where they're at. As soon as you're up, I mean, you got an idea what's going on.
Dude, this format sounds really fun. And especially like on like a Saturday. This is a Saturday match. You said it's the 4th Saturday, is that right?
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, so when you're talking about a Saturday match, a lot of times like 3-gun matches, especially like in Colorado, every match takes an hour and a half at least to drive to. And because of 3-gun and staging all the guns and resetting and everything, it takes a long time to move through there. And sometimes you're not done until, 2, 3 in the afternoon. And then it's another hour and a half, 2-hour drive home. For people that are, maybe taking time away from family or something, this is not a problem for me, but people that are taking time away from family or have to, negotiate different days for different activities or something, that's a pretty good proposition in how fast the gas gun match seems to move.
Yeah, in reality, they do move about the same as far as like you're shooting. There's a lot of shooting, right? There's usually 8 stages. So I mean, you're shooting a lot. What we do is, so we go cold in the middle of the day, for a couple reasons. We provide food, right? So we order pizza and soda and water for everybody there that is competing, and then some for that matter. And it's built-in time for camaraderie and meet and introduce yourself to shooters in the area. Talk about other matches, talk about other disciplines. But also, since a lot of our sponsors are local in this central area, our sponsors are there. And they're there to shoot the match as well, but they also have product. They're also there to pick your brain as a shooter. What would you like to see? And what I've noticed in the years that I've done matches is that most matches, people show up. If it's a 2-day match, major 3-gun match, people show up the day prior. They walk a couple stages. They get in their car. They go to the hotel. They show up the next day. They shoot their stages. They walk the stages they have to shoot on the next day. They go home. So as a sponsor, you get very little face time with the shooter. Now, other matches do this better. However, what we've decided to do is, again, I'm going to feed you, so you don't have to bring food. Obviously bring water. Going forth through that way, right? And it's just easier to go through and build that camaraderie when you're being fed, you got pizza shoving in your face, and I got water, things in that nature. And we think it's important.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is important. It provides more value to the sponsors, and then for the people that are there to create those bonds and stuff. I tell you what, like some of the best conversations I've had on the range at club matches are putting stuff away. You know, when we're throwing the poppers back in the popper pile and stuff like that, and wheeling in the plate rack and everything, and you don't have your earplugs in, and you're not trying to concentrate on your stage plan and stuff. So I like that aspect of it. That's pretty cool. Now, is that just at the Pro-Am and the finale, or is that at every match?
Every match.
Nice.
So all 7 matches, we will go cold for 1 hour. Take your ear pro off, get your ears to breathe, get some water in you, get some food in you, talk to the sponsors that are there. It gives them time to, and it also gives you as a shooter the ability to kind of reset, right? If the first half of the day it didn't go your way, you can kind of clear your mind and work through it. Talk to other guys, see what something's going on, right? Get a better understanding of what you're doing wrong if you're on the struggle bus. And like I said, the biggest thing is to build that camaraderie with like-minded people in the general area and build the community of not only pro Second Amendment but also pro action shooting sports. And see what other disciplines there might be out there: 3-gun, 2-gun, PCC, USPSA, things of that nature, things that you may not know. I mean, we really built this for, you can buy a Zion out of the box, put a Vortex 2.5 to 10 on there, or a 3 to 9x40 from your any optic company, and come shoot recce. If you can get a bigger scope, you can go in the DMR. We want you to come out and bang and have a great time and truly understand how to engage targets in non-conventional, meaning off your belly positions. We will make you shoot in random positions on things, you know, nothing unsafe, but anybody can punch a hole super tight, laying down in a perfect controlled environment without that little stress piece of equipment, meaning the buzzer, because there are plenty of times where I'm convinced that I have this stage ready to go, and then the buzzer goes off, and I'm like a bag of chewed bubble gum trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So it's amazing what a little piece of machine can do to your brain, and we are trying to help people work through those issues. Yeah,
it really is, man. Amazing what the timer can do. And, you know, if anyone's listening to the show that's, typical 3-gunner, USPSA shooter, you know, you've experienced that yourself. So it doesn't go away when the time is just a little bit longer and things are a little slower paced and there's no reset. Still get that jazz. So cool to know that you've got that there with the gas gun match too. Well, Jeremy, I love the format, man. And honestly, like it's a tough decision trying to figure out what division you'd shoot in. I would kind of want to shoot recce division just because, you know, you can use your 3-gun rifle. I just got the new Razor 1 to 10, so obviously I want to play with that. But then just an optic swap away from tactical light, and then you get the bipod. It's a tough one, dude.
Yeah. It's hard to pick. It definitely is.
What's the typical most popular division? You said that they've run this before. What is the typical most popular division there? Is it open?
Tac light.
Tac light, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'd say right behind that's recce.
So this is like truly a small platform match. I love it.
Yeah, and so last year and the years prior, they did not separate small platform, large platform. And I thought that was slightly unfair.
Oh, okay.
So you had dudes shooting 308 against people shooting 5.56. Now, yes, the guy shooting 308 has to eat a little bit more recoil, but as we know, we can add weight to our guns now. We're not humping these rifles around the woods. I mean, we're walking from stage to stage, and they're not far from anywhere. So you had guys shooting 308, and you had guys, which is kind of interesting, loading 308 155s, basically creating a 30 cal 6.5 as far as speed. The BC wasn't there, but the speed was there. Against dudes shooting 77 grain bowtail hollow point.
Yeah.
And even with the bowtail, it's 77 grain. That's as far as you're going with a gas gun. So this year, when I came online with them, I said, hey, really, small frame should be shooting against small frame. Large frame should be shooting against large frame. And then if you're shooting any other caliber besides 308 or 5.56, you're going open. And then if you're recce, it's really 18-inch barreled guns running a 1 or whatever up to a max of 10 power.
I like that.
So
that's cool. So, all right, give an example of a stage. So you've got some sort of obstacle you're shooting off of. Some of the photos I've seen were like tank traps, rooftops. You mentioned cattle gates, stuff like that. And then how many targets are you engaging on a typical stage?
So most of the time we're going to have 2 or 3 distances, and usually there's either 1 or 2 targets at those distances. Meaning, so shooter will shoot off a rooftop simulator, engage target at 300 yards. It'll be marked with 5 rounds, and then go to same target marked at 500 yards, engage it 2 times, and then go to target at 700 yards marked as well for your stage, and engage it 3 times. Hit or miss, hit to move, depends on what it is. Par time, 180 seconds. Do you understand the course of fire?
Okay, so they're like pretty darn simple.
Yeah, I mean,
even I can understand that.
Simple enough that it's not overly complex, because I don't want to get it to where it's super hard to understand. Because again, it's geared to get people into the sport, get them into something. You got to have that gateway drug, right? Get them into action shooting sports, which then maybe it'll cross over to, maybe they go, hey, I want to get a bolt gun. I want to go shoot precision rifle and RL. Maybe I want to do this gas gun, and maybe I want to do 2-gun. Maybe I want to do something different with just pistol and go USPSA, or maybe I want to pick up a shotgun because I already have a pistol, obviously, and go shoot 3-gun. Or maybe I just want to stay here. I like this whole precision game, but I like it with a gas gun. So that's the goal. And then from there, you're really just put in positions, like you said, rooftop, tank traps, cattle grates, off of a stump. Last year we had a mover at 700, and you had to shoot off of a tripod. So you're having to know how to shoot off a tripod, but you're also having to understand your lead on the mover.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people will tell you, hey, this is what I shot, this is what I did. Most of the time, if not all of the time, bolt lock to the rear, mag in hand, so that the rifle is completely empty. Upon signal, you can load, getting into position, and go to work. Sometimes we'll make you induce a mag change. Hey, you have a target at 500 meters, and you have a target at 700 meters. You have one mag will have 5 rounds in it. You must change mags and shoot the other 5 rounds at the 700-yard target. So now I've added a mag change in there under duress.
Interesting.
So different things like that, just to spice it up a little bit. Last year we had, speaking to that mover on a tripod, this is how it was said to shoot. So you had a total of 20 rounds. Everybody had a total of 20 rounds, and this mover had a left and a right limit. It could go, so if it went from left to right and then right to left, that was one full pass. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you had a total of 4 passes.
Okay.
So total 4 passes. In there, you had to induce a mag change at least once. So what most people did is they got into position. As they're going into position, they loaded into a 10-round mag or 20-round mag with 10 rounds in it, right? Worked through it, shot to bolt lock, and then grabbed mag and shoved the new mag in. Jeremy did something slightly different. I loaded one mag with 1 round, and I loaded my other mag with 19 rounds. And as I was going into position, so I'm standing there with my rifle with the mag that had 1 round in it. As soon as he said go, mag went in, hit the bolt release, and hit the mag release at the same time, and then loaded. So I had a full 20 before I ever got into position.
Right.
I never wanted to take my head off of the target or my sights off the target to change mag. That's just time, and you got time getting into position, so why break cheek weld? Well, the curve, right, before I was the last person to shoot that stage, the highest score was 13 at the time, and I got up and shot 18 and screwed the entire curve up for everybody. Nice. And a lot of people are like, can he do that? And the match director's like, he did do a mag change. There is no doubt about that. However, he saw it in a different way. And in my mind, it was, hey, man, if you ain't gaming, you ain't trying.
I love it, man. You're a gamer at heart. We've had countless conversations about complaining about gamers, and you're a gamer at heart. That makes me so happy.
Hey, I will shoot it as it's read. If they wanted me to, you must shoot 10 rounds and then change mag, okay, I will shoot it. But if you leave it open to interpretation, I'm going to find the path of least resistance, or I'm going to try. And look, there are people better at it than me. So that's why, I tell match directors all the time, if your intent is to be shot a certain way, then you should spend some more time on the stage description so that it cannot be interpreted any other way than the way you want it. But if you're going to leave it open-ended, I'm going to find a loophole to shoot it to a way that makes the most sense. And after I shot it, the RO was like, or the match director, who's a good guy, Robin, was like, that well played. That's the best way to shoot that. Because again, I never came off gun. And if you've ever shot a mover, it pauses after it gets out of its left and its right limit to come back the other way. So as it's in its pause, I'm just waiting for it to come on that back over into course of fire. There's at least, 1, 2, there's 4 or 5 hits right out of the gate because you're attacking it, and it's just you're not moving with it. Now then you continue to hit it and engage it as it's moving. So we play with people's minds a little bit. That another stage we did last year was we did a Captain Phillips stage at 600, and so you're on a shaky bridge laying down in the prone, and we had a full-size chest plate at 600 yards, and then on the left and the right of that were the pirates. Mm-hmm. And you had to engage and hit you had to hit the left pirate, and you had to hit the right pirate. 5 rounds each. Now, if you hit Captain Phillips at any time, you zero the stage.
Right.
But you could also stop whenever you wanted. So if you hit the left pirate with 3 rounds, you could stop. I'll take my 3 hits and move on. But most people don't want to do that.
Yeah, because there's more pirates out there, but the more time you're on the clock, the more potential you have to hit Captain Phillips.
But every time you pull that rifle or you pull that trigger, that bridge is moving.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to work with your rifle and work with what you're doing. And a lot of people zeroed that stage, but they had fun in the process. There were dudes that had like 8 hits, and then on the 9th round, bang, stop.
Dude, it's greed, man. Greed will get you every time.
So we have a good time. And then some dudes went up there and just smacked Captain Phillips first round and stood back up. Well, at least I hit something. Move on. So
I love it.
good
Well,
times.
it sounds like a good format. Well, so Jeremy, let me tell you my my mover story real quick. So again, the sniper match that Amax and I shot a couple years ago, they actually had a classroom portion as well, which was where a lot of the sponsor activation happened. And one of the classes they taught us how to shoot a mover. So the guy we're at shoot, what's that place in Tennessee? I forgot what the facility is called. I'll think of it later.
Rock Castle?
No. It's a rifle only type place. Might actually be called rifles only. I don't know.
Might be rifle. I don't know.
I'll think of it. But anyhow, so we're they've got a mover out there at like 500 yards, and they're teaching us how to shoot it. And so Amax and I are both on like borrowed guns with borrowed optics and stuff and borrowed ammo, and so we're trying to figure it out. And so the guy is teaching us the math, and so the answer is 0.5 mil, just say. And he goes, now for you boys from Alabama, you're gonna have to hold a whole mil because you're much slower than everybody else. I laughed so hard, and then I held a mil and I hit it.
Unreal.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, the mover is a fun one, man. Once you find where your sweet spot is and stuff, and you can actually hit it, it's a good feeling. Well, Jeremy,
once you figure them out, they're pretty easy to hit. Once you figure out what you got to hold, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot of experience in that arena too. Well, Jeremy, the match, the series, the IWI Gas Gun Challenge sounds like a kick in the pants. So if people are excited about that and they want to shoot it and they're in your area, is it on Practice Score?
It is. So every match is on Practice Score. We actually created a club in Practice Score. So you can go in the Practice Score, register for the club, and you'll be sent a link to pay for all of the matches at one time, which pretty much guarantees you'll have a slot in the match.
Oh, that's way cool.
They do fill up fairly quickly. Basically, you're prepaying for everyone, but if you end up not making it, yeah, sorry, bud, donation to the club.
But that's like a season pass for shooting. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
yep. So basically, yeah, that's how that works. And then we do a small prize table at the end of each match, but it's really random draw. We give away some high value prizes, and it's just, hey, you showed up. I guess you could call it a consolation prize. You showed up, you completed, you didn't DQ, and we give away a couple things, here and there. And then at the end of this series, again, you have to shoot 3 and RO 1. Your scores are tabulated. If you end up shooting all 6 and you RO 1, we take your 3 highest scores to tabulate that. And we do have trophies. And then we have some amazing sponsors that have come online to support that. And they've all donated really some product and some certs. As I said before, I believe in giving back to the sport. So certs are great, gives you a great discount, and we appreciate what they've done. So sponsors like, Taylor Freelance, those boys up at Robin Taylor and those boys, Timothy Triggers, Magpul, Kafaru Packs, Keystone Munitions, Weber Tactical, Kestrel, Magneto Speed, Peterson's Cartridge, which is a lot of brass and things of that nature, Wiseman Company, Vortex Optics, Lancer, True North Concepts, Precision Armament, Coltac, Patriot Valley Arms, Dissonant Arms, Shoot Steel, Warren Scope Rings, Arasaka, and a few more. Some of my closest friends in this industry have stepped up to provide some certs in that nature and some product. And we're super excited to bring this to this general area, and maybe we can grow it a little more. Who knows?
Yeah, that's exciting. I think a lot of people listening wish something like this was in their backyard. Pretty cool little format you got going there. And then a cool finale in October. That's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to come out and shoot it and they're not from the area, I encourage you to come. It's a fun match. It's a great little area to do. You can hang out in, bring the family. After the match, you can go run over to Hershey and get all the chocolate you can stand.
Nice. Well, Jeremy, pretty cool stuff that you have going there. I'm excited for that match and to hear how it goes. I love the divisions, and Man, all of them sound like fun, and this is definitely with the popularity of the the AR-15, something that almost anybody can find the gear to shoot. Okay, so if people are interested in that, check it out, Practice Score. We'll have links at 3gunshow.com, of course, to everything, and of course the wonderful sponsors that Jeremy has for this match. Jeremy, thanks for being on the show, man. I appreciate you talking about this match and bringing this new format to the 3 Gun Show audience. I want to give you one last chance for final thought or final piece of advice for the people listening. If you got something to leave them with, what is it?
Well, I mean, ultimately, as most people know me and some don't, I'm a big component of the Second Amendment and a big component of the action shooting sports. So we support a lot across various disciplines. So first and foremost, I appreciate every one of the listeners taking their time out of their day to listen and supporting the 3 Gun Show and the supporters of the 3 Gun Show, along with supporting my brand. I mean, a lot of people have heard about my brand that I represent at IWI through your channels, Dave. And I appreciate every one of them, and I appreciate what you do for the industry. So thank them and thank you.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Always great to have you on the show, Jeremy. We'll have to not make it so long next time. Maybe we'll do a wrap-up in October and hear how the season went. Thanks for being here, dude.
Thanks, homie.
And thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you on the range. Hey, show's over. You're still listening? Well, since you're still listening, I'll give you one more piece of news that I didn't give you at the front. We have a couple changes coming up to the 3 Gun Show this year. I'm not ready to talk about them yet, but I wanted to let you know that some changes are coming, just so you're not freaked out when it happens, because change can be kind of scary, but these ones are going to be good.